Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup podcast, episode 180. So close to 200. So close. We missed last week. I was away, but now I'm back. And last time, 2 weeks ago, we covered collector booster boxes for Magic, and we should have waited till this week. So we're going to revisit that. And we are also going to be talking about some Spider-Man because it got shown off at San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to be talking about the Pick 2 draft format. Going to be talking about just websites where I typically order Magic from and their inventory being pretty scarce, the scarcest I've seen it in a while, and pretty defensive, I'd say. And then Final Fantasy outpacing Lord of the Rings, which was the best-selling Magic set ever. So now we have a new one.
Yeah, Final Fantasy took the crown.
That's fine.
Part 2 was up there too, though. They said
for in universe.
I think it was up there for all. Honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice. From what I recall, I'll see if I can find the article.
Okay, and then we'll do some some economic stuff.
Yep.
So, but first, start with what we played. Did you play any Magic?
I played a bunch. I just had a Magic Day, which
Nice.
I have not been to for the past while. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I went last minute. I was not sure if I could make it, but I did end up making it. So nice. I played a couple of decks, most of my classics. I brought my more aggressive deck specifically because I know that people have been tweaking, and so they're, I know like where people had weak decks before, they were working on them over the course of the months I've not been attending. So
they've been upgraded.
Probably stronger now. Yeah, so I brought my strongest stuff so I could keep up, and it ended up being a good move. I did only win one game playing, full out, although I screwed up one thing. But best game was Mishra because it's been so long I've forgotten all the little tech that I put in my decks. And I get this helm. I can't remember the name of it. Helm of World something, and it's blue. Basically, you can anytime you create a token, you create a map as well. A map token, artifact token, I think is what it is actually. You create a map token, and then you can tap it to duplicate another token. Yeah, any token on the field, right? Or any artifact on the field, something like that. Anyway, so that I knew was a combo piece, and I could not remember how. I was like, this is a good card. I don't remember why. So I played it. I put it out because it's like kind of a benign artifact in and of itself, so no one's going to like just remove it, even though I know it's part of a combo piece. And I straight up told everyone, I was like, I know this is an important card for a combo in here. I'm not sure why. So I'm just going to play it. Like maybe we'll see the combo, whatever. Kept going, pulled a Gonti's something. Basically, it gives you 2 energy when it plays, and then if you pay 8 energy, you get an extra turn. It's a legendary artifact. And after fumbling around for a bit, talking to the other people at the table, we realized that with Mishra, which on combat phase copies an artifact into a 4/4 Mishra's Warframe, right? It changes the name. Therefore, the legendary rule doesn't apply. That made infinite turns because when I make that, that's the thing with the Gontis is I think it's every time you any artifact hits the battlefield, your battlefield, you get 2 energy as well. So itself gets 2 energy, and then the helm making a map token gives 2 more energy, and then you can tap 2 and copy any of the artifacts and make 2 more energy, and it costs 8 to kick off. But basically what I meant is with that combo, I was able to go infinite. And when we first talked about it, the table decided, nope, can't quite get there. You're missing some piece to this combo. And I was like, okay. And then about halfway around the table again, we realized the Mishra renaming thing, and we're like, oh, nope, actually you did win when you thought you won.
Yeah.
So we kept playing as if I didn't, just to let everyone have another turn, but everyone's like, yeah, you won because you called it. You just couldn't quite figure out how. As a group failed to like misled you basically because they're like, no, you can't because the legendary. I'm like, think I can, but okay.
Yeah.
I believe you guys. I don't know the rules well. I haven't played in a long time. Like, I'll trust the people at the
Yeah.
table more than
Sure.
myself any day of the week, but they were wrong. I was
Nice.
right. So
Nice.
I went infinite combo on them, infinite turns on them, and won the game. And that was the only win I get. So I stumbled into a win. I played Animar, which is kind of a cheesy one. It's not really pumped, and it's definitely not optimized. After I played that like 3 times just to try to feel it out a little bit. So a couple things: too much land, uh, too much reliance on Animar, not enough protection. I have a little protection in there, but not enough.
Yeah.
And what he does is like he gets +1s for every creature that comes out, and basically what's in there is a bunch of Eldrazi to finish the game.
Yeah.
Because for each +1, it reduces the cost of the thing by any creatures by 1, colorless. So you want colorless creatures. As he pumps, he can just basically dump Eldrazi on the board for free. But I didn't have much protection on him. People were generally kind to me and didn't remove it a lot. There was a few times where it got removed. And he played okay, but the deck is definitely not optimized. Like, I need to go back and look at the ratios and stuff, because there's several times where I was either flooding out or didn't have enough mana. So I need to make sure that I have some like appropriate level of ramp and appropriate level of mana. And then I think I flooded out more than not. And then I didn't have protection, so I need that. And other than that, I think it's mostly good. But it felt like a deck that I had thrown together with some concepts, right? Looked at some vague ratios and left them, and then didn't really revisit. And that's exactly what it is. So I need to revisit it.
Nice.
And then the last deck I played was Arcades, my wall dragon. He basically makes defenders attackable, or able to attack, and switches their toughness for their strength. Or they do damage with their toughness, essentially. That one's pretty good, but there's been a bunch of stuff that's come out that's really good that would be great upgrades for that. I started to upgrade it into some like intruder alert type infinite combos, but I felt like that was too strong, so I backed it down from there. So this is like my middle tier Arcades, because I remember thinking that one was too cheesy, because it really was. It was like you just kind of win the game out of nowhere, stupid, uninteractive. So I backed it down. But then while we were playing, someone else brought out this other dragon from Turkey. I can't remember. I think it was one of the face precons that was like black, green, maybe red. I don't remember. So different color combos. But he does like if you have enough toughness on the board to get over 10, you get something at your end step or upkeep, one of the two. I think it's end step. And then if you have over 20, you get something at your end step. So most people that are familiar with Tokyo Dragons will know which one I'm talking about based on that description. But his deck was full of all sorts of bangers that I was like, oh, I should add that to Arcades. One of them basically, and I think it's a relatively new card, which is why I don't have it. It swaps an opponent's life for its toughness. So its toughness is like 13. Yeah. I don't remember how. You have to trigger it somehow. So it's not just automatic, but and maybe it's on, I don't remember. Whatever. There's a mechanic to it. But basically it's like it has a 0-13. So it's basically great for Arcades just because it's a 0-13. A little pricey if I recall correctly. The triggered effect, however that works, again, I don't remember the trigger. You choose an opponent, you take their life as its toughness, and they get its toughness as their life. So you can take someone from 40 to 13, and then you have a 40 swinger on your board. I was like, what? This is crazy.
That's silly.
Yeah, so I definitely want that card. And then there was another one that was similar, and it was funny. One of the Arcades games, I actually should have won. I was just overwhelmed with my hand because I had no maximum hand size, and he was playing, I think it was group hug, so he was making everyone
just
draw constantly. Yeah. So I had like 20 cards in my hand, and I was basically done with the game because people had died, and I was like, let's just wrap this up. And I was like, I don't care. So I swung at one guy, killed him like off the bat, and I swung everything else at the other guy, knowing I probably wasn't going to kill him, but he was group hugging. I was like, maybe I get another turn and then I will. Didn't really care, pumped it a little bit. He was down to like 4 life, whatever. And I was like, can you finish it? And so he's trying to figure it out. And then I'm flipping through my hand and I see I have the Titan that comes down, and it's like +X, where X is the amount of toughness on the board,
Mm,
and it gives that to everything on the board. And so if I had played that, which I had the mana, I had all
right.
these stupid mana things out at that time. If I'd played that before attacking, like if I'd
You
looked
would
through
have
my
won.
40 cards in my hand, yeah, I would have won the game easily. I did not. I forgot about it. I was like, well, let's see. I noticed it while he was trying to figure out how to beat me. I was like, let's see if he can beat me this turn. If not, then I definitely got him. And he found a way to get infinite mana and cause me to draw. And each time I drew, it created another treasure, so he could
Mm,
just cycle through. And he had enough. And one of the other opponents was playing a mill deck, so I was down to like the last third of my deck
yeah.
at that point. So he's like, I'm just gonna make you draw and keep making mana and keep drawing. And he's like, can you do anything to stop that combo? And I could do a little bit, but because the mana phases and the type of mana I had left were like the ones that produce like X green per
Right.
creature you have or something. So it was like they're all like Gaia's Cradle stuff. So it's like massive, mana pool, but each time you step through a phase, you lose it, right?
Right.
And I only had so many things left. And so we went through it to try to see if there was a way for me to stop him, and I could not. He had
Oh,
one too many ways of going to the next phase where then I'd be out of mana by the end and he could force that cycling. So it was a cool way to die. Like
yeah.
he basically decked me, which was neat. You don't see that very often in EDH. So it was fun.
Nice.
It was a good time. I
Nice.
enjoyed myself.
Sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. What about you?
The only Magic I played, the only cards game I played really. Well, I played some other like fun family games, but brought the starter decks with me. A friend came down to visit who's learning Magic, and it didn't go great. But the last game was close because he's a friend that I played a lot of competitive Hearthstone with, so he's no stranger to card games. So he did not want me to go easy or pull punches or anything. And
And just crush him.
it's one of those things that he would know, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I won all 3 games we played.
So what was it you were playing with?
The Final Fantasy starter decks, the ones we played, the Cloud versus Sephiroth.
Are those commander style? I can't remember.
No, they're
like consistent 60 card or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not consistent because they're not.
Yeah, that's right. They had some like 2 ofs of like the
Cloud and
bomb.
Sephiroths are 1-ofs.
Yeah. I forgot. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Didn't
and
go well.
you know how you were saying how like it just didn't do its thing with the equips?
Yeah.
It did the thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It did the thing. It was pretty cool. Because there's a bunch of cards that are like create the 1/1 hero, and then it's an attachment. So it's a creature and an attachment kind of.
Okay.
Or equipment. And then so that I played like 3 of those, and then I drew into Cloud, and then we just it was silly.
Gotcha.
But that's all I really played. I've been reading Watership Down. Are you familiar?
I am Bloomborough at the book.
Yeah. Minus the fantasy aspect, but
Is it modern? I can't remember. It's been a long time.
yeah, it's like there's no like rabbits. It's rabbits, but they're not wielding weapons or magic or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it is very much like a journey. Like I attribute it to being very similar to like the Fellowship of the Ring, where the group changes over time and they're going on a journey with a purpose, and then the purpose is changing. Like first to Rivendell, then to go destroy the ring, right? So like, and then the group changes. So there's different like checkpoints in the book where the group changes and the goal of the group
hero
changes.
is their main character?
Yeah.
Like Frodo? Okay.
Yeah. There's a Frodo, there's a Sam, there's an Aragorn, there's a Boromir, there's
So it really is just like an adventure quest book.
Yeah.
A
It's
hero's journey.
really is.
Appropriate supporting cast.
I'd take that back. I don't know if there's a main character, but there's certainly is the leader kind of a thing. But not the strongest one. Yeah.
It doesn't. They typically aren't the strongest one. That's the whole point. The hero's journey is like a classic archetypal framework for stuff.
Yeah.
It basically just says that the character evolves. They start out as weak and incapable. They get their butts kicked a little bit. That gives them the motivation to go out and try to become better. And then they go and do some stuff. They have challenges they have to overcome. And then once they overcome those challenges, they become better. And then they reface the original arc challenge, whatever that is. And that's how the hero's journey goes. And
Yeah.
that goes all the way back to like the Odyssey and the Iliad. Like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that's how those stories are designed too. A little bit more convoluted in their case, but it's a classic. It's what basically all fantasy is built around, a period basic, to a large degree, I'd say.
Yeah. No, I highly recommend it. I have about 100 pages left. It's about a 500-page book.
Yeah, it's old school. I
Yeah.
remember that from when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was actually my boss sent it to me, and so it's kind of sentimental. He sent it to me, and then from his personal collection, like off of his bookshelf. And then he wrote a note in it, and it was like, Tommy, any book can be a leadership book if led through a leadership lens. And so I was just like, and he references this book all the time. So I was just like, all right, I should read it. And I took it kind of
language.
Yeah, I took it kind of feeling like homework, but I'm like invested.
Wait, have you never read it before?
I've never read it before.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, he was like, if you like Lord of the Rings, you're probably going to like this.
Yeah.
And
This was like the classic, like when I was a kid, this was the adventure book because it's really simple reading. It was like one of those like learn to read type books, you know?
It's a children's level reading book.
Yeah.
It's long, but it's a children's level reading book. But it's pretty dark for a children's book.
I mean, that's how we did it back in the 80s.
I know. I'm just saying.
We traumatized all the children. That was what we did.
Yeah.
And that's their classic thing is they were traumatized by the stuff like what was it Legend, the movie with the horse dying and all that. Like people are like still traumatized to that, and that was like a children's movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
With puppets.
Either way, if anyone's looking for a good book to read and haven't read it, I recommend it.
Yeah, definitely a good book.
But I want to get into the market.
Sure. Yeah. What you got?
So I took some new data of the collector boxes we looked at 2 weeks ago. Final Fantasy was at 1,200. Now it's at about 1,350. The volume has gone down from 74 a day to 29 a day. And then we're slightly down on inventory. There was 279 in the market. Now there's 247. I do see this running away like Lord of the Rings Special Edition. I could see it. I wouldn't be surprised if this was 2,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised if it's like by the end of the summer, frankly. Yeah. Just because there's so few left, and
summer's usually like the dead TCG market.
That's why I'm like, yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all. It's insane. Like this is, I don't like it. I really don't like this level of mismatch in supply and demand on this. Now I get why it happened. I understand they've talked about it a little bit. I think Mark Roswire came out about it a little bit. So I understand, but at the same time, holy crap!
I keep hearing about like 100, it's not just collectors though. It's players. There's new players. Like what was it, 40% increase in active players, and like I keep seeing 100-person pre-releases sell out.
Yes, and it's because the IP drew people in, and now they're sticking around. And they're going to continue to stick around because they've paced it properly for the same crowds. Yeah. So we have Spider-Man coming next, right? Mm-hmm. Which is going to draw a separate crowd and bring some people in. But then you have Avatar after that, which I'm understanding a lot of the Final Fantasy people are really excited about the Avatar set.
Yes,
that's what I'm starting to see. I'm like, really? Okay, I don't get it. Like I am so out of my depth with like
it's not my
nostalgia kick. Yeah, it's a thing though, and it's working. They're doing it right.
Is. Oh yeah.
So those Final Fantasy players will probably start to trail off, right? Because their main IP is kind of now old news. There's nothing new, and then Avatar will hit, and it'll probably pull them back in. So they are pumping their player numbers without a doubt. Now, what that leads to in the long run, does it actually hold up? I don't know about that.
But it's good sign so far.
It is.
That it's like,
I don't like this collector box being this expensive
oh, I
with
don't
a
either.
high probability of being way more expensive within months.
Yeah.
Like it sh-
Yeah.
it
It's,
means they screwed up
yeah.
in my mind. Like they didn't hit the right supply. Now,
No.
granted, you got to be cautious and you don't want to overdo it, right? Under is better than over,
Right.
especially for collectors. But at the same time, I don't know. It feels wrong. I don't know. It shouldn't
Yeah.
cost that much to get the thing that you care about in the game that you want to play.
Yeah. And speaking
Like
of,
spending $2,000 on a box. Like,
yeah.
okay, here, let me frame this because it's important for the rest of the
Yeah.
conversation. At this Magic Day, this conversation came up.
Sure.
The people around the table were like, "Yeah, just don't buy collectors anymore."
Yeah.
They were all the people that bought it one collector box for the
Hmm.
things that they loved, and they bought it for their collection. They cracked it. It wasn't a speculation thing. They
No.
cracked
No.
it and they played with the cards, and they love the cards because they're special treatments, and it matters to them. Like it's so weird, hanging out with players that are only players because it just is a very different
Oh,
mindset.
for
But
sure.
the
Yeah.
amount of love and passion for very specific cards they pulled is so high. Like it
Yeah.
it defines their gameplay. Like they actually build everything around it. They think about it a lot. And they're very excited to open these, and now they don't have access. They're
Yeah.
basically saying we're not buying these anymore because it's impossible.
Yeah.
They wanted Edge of Eternities. It's too expensive.
That's what I was going to skip to because it
Yeah,
jumped from
it's like
403 to 432.
yeah, they're like it's not worth it anymore. Just go buy the singles with the
Yeah.
$400 you'd spend.
Yeah.
Like it's so they're like this is the problem. Like they're kind of breaking their own market. The people that are the long tail, they're not the collectors or whatever, like not buying boxes to sit on a shelf.
Right.
Like they're not going to participate in this anymore because they're getting sick of it. It's too expensive too fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's why I switched to mainly focusing on play.
Yeah, it's that's unfortunate. That feels like missed opportunity. It also feels like somewhat of a betrayal of the people that keep the game alive because the collectors have shit if there's no players. We've talked about this a million times,
But they
right?
keep, yeah. And one thing we'll get into though is most cards nowadays, like there are the special treatments in collector boxes, but I feel like those are getting fewer and fewer.
What do you mean by that?
Like
For what
most,
purpose, I guess?
so like in like the draft boxes were really frowned upon because you could really only get the basic versions, right? And then the set box you could get the showcase, and then the collector you could get the even fancier showcase and fractured foils and stuff like that. So, but with Spider-Man, for example, there's very few things that you can't get in the play box. It's like
Well,
foil
and I don't
versions.
think Spider-Man's a really good sample because of its weird set
Right.
nature.
Oh, I know.
We'll talk
And
about
we'll,
that in
yeah,
a minute.
yeah.
But like for Edge of Eternities, what is it? What do you mean?
But
It's
also
not special
even
treatment? There's
like
definitely
fine.
ones that are collector only.
Yeah. Let me pull up. I'm sure there's, here it is. So the ones that are collector only are the headliner treatment. But the stellar sights lands, those you can get in play boxes. Then there's the poster versions that you can only get in the collector.
Yeah.
But those like the borderless that aren't borderless lands,
Yeah.
those can get you can get those in play.
There's a totally borderless. Anyways, let's not do that fight
I
again.
know. But like the viewport lands you can get in play. The special guest cards you can get in play.
Yeah, you have to be able to get those.
Yeah. So it's really just like the commander cards
And the poster versions.
The poster versions.
Well, posters are definitely sought after, so I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, honestly. You still get the density in the collector's box, which is again
Sure.
why
Yes.
these players like buying those boxes.
But the density is But there's
Yeah, they
more
want
rares in
to
a
make
play now.
sure they basically everything they pull in a collector's box, they love. Like
Yes.
there's probably like 5 cards in the entire box. They're like, I don't care about this unless it's really badly printed and there's too many
Sure.
dupes.
Sure.
But yeah, they're pretty much always like, I love this. Or if they don't love the specific thing, it is still unique. And they talk to one of the other group members and they trade it. That was one of the
Yeah.
things that came up. Someone did a Final Fantasy and they traded this gorgeous, like borderless, with the fancy art with the funny text at the bottom. That was like the Final Fantasy text. What
Through
was
the
that?
ages.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. There's a specific one. I don't remember which one. And he was so passionate about it. Built a deck around it. All this. He was so passionate about this one card. And of course, it was a card the other person didn't really want, but they traded stuff. And it
Yeah.
was our friend that has the ridiculous collection. So he traded a bunch of cards to get that one card because I think it was like a $300 card.
Yeesh.
Yeah. And but he was happy to do it. And now that newer player who pulled it has a bunch of powerhouse cards to add to their decks. So now they're gonna be able to build more decks. So it's
Yeah.
like that's
No.
like
Yeah.
part of the built-in economy that's now gonna go away because no one's gonna buy those boxes to actually open them.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem. Like if it's a speculative asset, you don't want to open it.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And if it goes up by 200, 400, 500% in 3 months, guess what?
Yeah.
You're not going to open it.
No.
I have a Tarkir collector box sitting on my shelf specifically for that. I bought that to open.
Yeah.
And then it doubled immediately. And I was like, I'm not going to open this.
Yeah. But the volume's moving faster. It went from 54 a day to now 70 a day. And 192 on the market to 61. It's not out yet.
It's too much. It's too
I've never
fast.
seen a collector that low inventory before.
Too fast. They're underprinting. They managed to pull more people in.
Yeah.
And which is what they were trying to do. And I guess they did not realize fast enough how quickly that would work. And so they're behind on the curve of the supply they should be providing.
Yeah.
So I guess that's normal because the print runs are decided pretty early, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're just always a little bit lag.
And
Now, by the time they catch up, people are going to be bored of this or not buying it. Like right now, people are talking about the next few sets. They're not buying a collector's and they're going to mess it up.
Yeah. I think the collectors will be just fine.
The collectors, the people you mean, or the collector boxes?
Collector boxes will do just fine going forward.
We'll see.
I'm not seeing a correction. I'm not seeing a massive downturn.
We'll see.
Like the whole vote with your wallet, people are, and they're paying for it.
They are paying for it for now.
Yes.
Just wait until all the moneyed Final Fantasy people flood out of the game because they don't like what's happening, which will happen eventually. It always does.
Yes, but they are not the only ones that are new to the market.
They're probably the ones that are driving most of the collectible because they're the Final Fantasy collector nerds.
Yes.
Just like the Lord of the Rings collectors when they came in did the same thing.
Yeah, sure. I don't think we saw as much bleed over into other sets with Lord of the Rings as we have with... We did? Oh.
No, we did not. We did not.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. But
that's
going...
a specific type of nerd.
Yeah. Yes. But going back to Bloomborough, we had it at 481. It's at 629. Still selling 2 a day with 34 on the market opposed to 42. Beloved set. Breaking away.
Still.
Yeah. I mean, I just see it going up from here.
Yep.
Tarkir, the one on your shelf, went up another $10, down from 5 a day to 4 a day, but only 261 on the market instead of 275.
Yeah, still a lot on the market compared to these other ones.
But I mean, yeah. So Edge of Eternities is the weird one. I've heard stores have gotten less Edge of Eternities product than they got of Final Fantasy, which makes sense.
Really weird. Well, I
think Magic just printed less of it because they didn't want another Aether Drift or something to bomb.
They probably expected it was
right after.
It's a weird non-loved old theme, right? Like
because even
but it was like, loved more than thought, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's across the board because even the play boxes are 145.
I've seen so many people like, I love Edge of Eternity's art, the style, the da-da-da-da-da. And again, it got me to buy something. I haven't bought anything in forever, and I bought the Commander decks because I was like, I want to do that Landfall deck. So
my case of play boxes showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was exciting.
Yeah, I'm curious how the draft goes with that. Like, if it's any good.
I don't have any to open though, because I just have one case.
I thought you got multiple. You only got the one.
I only got one.
Oh my God, we're doomed.
Because I had to put my orders in
somewhere.
We'll go get a bundle. We can do our Winston with a bundle. It's fine.
It's fine. I'm not worried about it if we miss the attorney's draft. I'll play it on Arena.
We missed Dragonstorm. We missed. I have a whole bunch of boxes that we were gonna draft on my shelf.
It's fine. We have plenty.
Yes.
Like we could go back.
Yes.
And we'd still have fun. We've had fun with mini sets. We don't have to open every new set.
I still have March Machine. We love that draft. It's so much fun.
That was a good time.
I still have an open box, and I still have the Final Fantasy box open, and I have Baldur's Gate box open, and I think I have a Murders at Karlov open. If not, I have a backup. I have a Bloomborough backup. I have a Tarkir backup.
I know there's a lot.
We have an open Modern Horizons 3. I have a backup of that. Wilds of Eldraine. I have a backup of that. We got boxes to draft.
I don't know. We might run out
in 2034.
Yeah, right.
But speaking of Aether Drift, the next one, I'm tempted to pick up more of these. They're at 200. I mean,
eventually, the market's going to drag them up. If all collector boxes are 400 minimum,
I know.
Like this will be 300, right? Like
that's what I'm looking. And what I typically do is look. I'm risk based in my picks, right? So like, how far can this go down? I don't really care how far it'll go up because I can wait. It will. But I always look at the risk of going down with a higher weight. And that's little Pokemon rant. That's why I've stepped away from Pokemon, because what did they do at the end of Sword and Shield? They reprinted a ton of sets, and we are well above, like the current set is like double MSRP. That's silly. That's gonna get reprints. These collector boxes, they're not gonna get reprints. And I think not a lot of, but enough of a percentage to make a difference of the Pokemon market is seeing the same thing, because these PokeTubers are talking about Magic collector boxes in the way that, hey, these aren't going to be reprinted. You don't have to worry about that. And it's just like, yeah, that it's been like that for a long time, but they just never looked anywhere else besides Pokemon. And now they're looking at Magic because of Final Fantasy.
Yep. It was the bridge to the PokeTubers.
It was. And then you have the other Universes Beyond sets coming up, and that's going to hold them. And then you obviously see people are converting into actual players too.
Yeah, well, that's the key that we didn't know for sure.
Right.
We're like, are they in and out, or are they sticking around?
Right.
And the answer, it seems, is sticking around.
Yeah. But there is a ton of it still on the market, so that's why it's still low. It's 320. There's 324 on the market, but down from 389 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like a good buy, because worst case, okay, say the entire Magic market implodes, because it does every once in a while.
Right.
Just for whatever random reason that happens.
Then these drop to 170.
Yeah, that's what I was like, what's the low it gets to? Like, at the absolute worst, 150, and that's very unlikely, you know? So what are you losing?
25%?
25% on a very minimal chance. And if you look at it at a bell curve and say, you know, what's the chance of getting to 170? What's the chance of getting to 180? You know?
Yeah.
And then 190 is $9 off, so you're not missing anything there, right?
No.
So versus what's the chance that it goes up to 300 from 200?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's much higher than all of those combined, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's a good bet. Now, the downside to that is if it takes longer than you expect and you have something you hate sitting on a shelf, but you don't seem to care about that because you're set up for that.
Yeah, and I already have a case of collectors, so that's why I'm not jumping yet. I've been looking elsewhere, and I'll get into that later. But Spider-Man down from 740 to 723.
Yeah, that one went a little overhyped.
I think more came to market because we're getting close. We're still it's 2 months away.
It's crazy. It shouldn't be that much to begin with, but
No.
I love that it came down. This is a travesty from 740 to 723 on a box that hasn't even hit the market yet. Why is it that much?
Selling 12 a day instead of 8 though, and only 117 on the market instead of 181. But again, we are 2 months out. Most stores have not even put up their allocations.
They don't even. Well, no, they do know, right?
They do.
At this
They
point,
do.
know.
They do. A lot of, and we'll get into it in a little bit. A lot of stores off a TCG player have sold out. Now they do usually come back in waves, and it'll be a little more expensive the next time they put them back up. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So tying into our title here, the edge of a new Magic the Gathering era, release the whales. John, do you think it's just a new era for Magic pricing?
Yes, absolutely. And the reason I was just about to bring this up because I have a case of March of the Machine collectors that I was selling as case for the longest time. I way overpriced it specifically so that it wouldn't sell that quickly,
Yeah.
and if it sold, I wouldn't be sad. And I looked at it today because I just sold one of my Commander Masters, which, if you recall, only has like 4 packs in it.
Yeah.
For over $300.
Yeah.
So I had that case a long time ago. I got to open a few and sell a few. Well, the few that I have left to sell, I'm going to like double the price I paid for the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I sold that, the 4 packs, for 300 some odd dollars today, and that made me look at what I have listed and double check the prices. So come to March of the Machines, which I had listed as a case. I was the only case left. No one was willing to buy at my price. Fine. Like I said, I way overpriced it. But I was the only case left on the market. So I took it down. I'm selling the packs. Or not the packs. The displays, yeah. The displays went, and this is from July 3rd, so earlier in this month, went from the 280 range all the way up to 335. And then I started looking at other older stuff. All of them have the
Brothers War.
spike. Yeah, all of them are doing this crazy spike right now. So I'm glad that I overpriced my stuff specifically, so when this happens, I catch some piece of it. I've noticed some have sold, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm happy with the price I sold it at because I'm like, yeah, that's a lot. But I am going to run out of stock with this current jump. Like, things are going to sell that just, it's crazy. You know, the only thing that won't will be like Innistrad, because I think I have that listed at like 300, and there's no way anyone wants to pay 300 for that. But it's one of those things where it's like, yes, it's happening across the board. Everything, all the collector boxes are, or at least modern.
It's going back.
Yeah, the older stuff really isn't so far, but it may eventually. You know, it's crazy. It's nuts. It's fine. It's good. A bunch of new people came in. Now they want to collect. I was this person once. I did it. I went back and collected every single collector box. I did it. Now I've made my money back on the new wave that's come in and done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what happens, right? I feel like we are not the norm in sticking around this long.
Correct. That is absolutely true.
So it's super fun to see, like, oh, here's the new batch of here's the new
yeah. Trying to grab the upswing, the quick win.
Yeah. That's when I start stepping back.
Well, that's why I'm selling. I'm selling into the hype. I'm like, okay, let me adjust these prices to make it make sense. Yeah. And the prices keep getting close. I'm checking them now pretty regularly. And if it gets too close, I raise it unless I'm really happy with the price for selling it.
Yeah, and how fast it is moving up. How many are selling?
Well, that's why. Because it's like, it means if it's starting to move up, there's a chance we'll get a big jump up, because that's what's happened with a bunch of these. And so that's why I keep like trying to lead ahead of it, and I catch it on the big jump up. That's when I sell, when suddenly the prices hop and supply disappears. Works about half the time. The other half it sells before I get to it, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. But
looking at stuff right now, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
I just want to. So I think this leads into. So I don't typically buy on TCG Player anymore. I typically buy from online stores like Stomping Grounds or Game Nerds or Safari Zone, places like that, where you can kind of buy in bulk a little cheaper. And or they have like Game Nerds has a reward system, which is actually kind of cool. So for every X amount you spend, you get gift cards. So you makes your next thing cheaper. But and then it also just helps you keep track of receipts and stuff like that. And they're with this new whole, I've noticed there's no one is saying don't pre-order anymore. And so finding stores like these that are reliable to pre-order from, I think is very important. So you don't tie up your money and then just be like, oops, sorry, we don't have it. Here's your money back a couple months later. But in looking around, just the inventory of both collector and play boxes is abysmal. Like it's not what it was even a month or two ago. Like things are just selling out or are priced to the point where it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah. Like the pre-order window is and has been the trend to be the best time to buy for the past, I think, since Aether Drift. Like Aether Drift being the last one not.
We've had some that have dropped after. Like even Tarkir came down.
It came down, but it wasn't to the price that they were selling at pre-order. That's what I'm saying. Like their pre-order
price, I don't even remember.
For Tarkir?
Yeah.
I can tell you in just a second. I got a case for $14.10 divided by 6, $235. For a Dragonstorm display.
Yeah, I'm looking. Hold on a sec. Do you remember the release date?
March.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm looking back now. I think you're correct that that was the low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
March is when I ordered it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have to assume this spike is the release
It did spike and come down after release. That is true.
But it didn't get that low. Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe it is.
So, and then everything after
Only people actually fulfilled the pre-orders.
Well, that's the thing is these stores have every single time.
No, they didn't. One of your guaranteed stores did not.
Which one?
The Final Fantasy, remember?
Oh, no, that's not one of my guaranteed stores.
You promised me, sir.
Oh, no. So, no, it's that is the first time I've ever ordered cards from them. I have ordered comic books. It was Midtown Comics.
Oh, that's true. You did say it was comics you were reliable with.
Yes. Yes. So I used to have.
I was promised Final Fantasy. That's all I know. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I was not.
Trust me, I ordered. I immediately rolled my eyes. I'm like, this is Final Fantasy. This price is ridiculous. There's no way they're gonna honor this. Yeah. I was not at all shocked when I got my refund. I was like, yep.
Yeah. But yeah, they are a legit big giant store. I've been to them in person.
Most of these stores are legit. They just also have to keep the lights on, so they they do what they have to do to maximize their gains and the good sets. It's totally.
They never relisted them.
I understand why the world gets upset at this. I get it. Like if you're working hard, you put all your money in this one thing, it's your one shot, and then the price expands and you missed your shot, right?
Yeah.
I get it. Like I understand why people get mad.
Oh, sure.
I don't get mad. No. I don't get mad at the stores. I understand the store side of it.
Yes.
I also understand the consumer side of it. I think both people have reasonable stances, and there's not a real good solution to meet the two in the middle, other than WotC not screwing up the print runs and putting the right number out, which is an incredibly difficult project.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I took the money I put on the 4 collector boxes there and picked up a case of Spider-Man Play and a case of Edge of Eternities for $600. So. It's just like Game Nerds up until it was like right before pre-release or the big preview drop. they had cases still for 600 and a play. And then so I just grabbed one. I was like, I'm doing the whole one play case for each set, and $100 seems pretty good for.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is play doing like go back to like Aether on play, like mentally, don't do it. Just out of curiosity, is that doing? I know it's going up in general, but is it doing very well? Like, what are your percentage guesstimate range gains over, call it the course of a year or whatever?
Pretty good.
Like 10%, 50%. Like, what's pretty good?
I'd say 50.
So
50
you're
on the
saying
high,
if it was
20 on average.
130, okay, yeah, so 130 a box or whatever, 120, because the different sizes have different price, right? MSRP,
Right.
everything. But you're saying you're gaining somewhere between
Well, no,
20
since
and
Aether Drift has all been 30 pack since.
well, whatever. You get my point. They've shifted some of the things around, so whatever.
Aether Drift dropped to 85. That was
and the IP ones are more expensive, so
correct.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Give me the percentage in MSRP. Generally speaking, you're saying you're getting somewhere between 20 and 50% gains over the course of a year.
Yeah.
On the play boxes.
Yeah.
So like Tarkir was what, 115?
Yeah, it also just got a reprint, and you can also get. That is one of the only playbox cases Game Nerds has right now for 600 is Tarkir.
Okay, so they do come back down for the play boxes
because it just got the reprint, but they won't.
Yeah,
but
and
that's the thing
that's
is
relatively quick. Like that's relatively quick. We're looking at what? How many months? Because that just came out like 3 months. So yeah,
3. Yeah.
So being flat for 3 months is like, oh, people get to play with the product. That's the play product.
Well, it wasn't
that's
flat.
Fine. That's
it wasn't
totally
flat.
Fine.
It went up and then came down.
Yeah.
And I think it's still like 115, 120 on TCG Player. But
yeah, that sounds about right.
I remember. I think it got up to like 135 at the height, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But then you have like on the opposite side, and then Aether Drift
Final Fantasy situation is the opposite side because that one went bonkers and probably is still bonkers.
Right. So I paid 140 a box, buying at the case level, and it's 236 is the cheapest box right now.
Almost double. Okay.
Yeah. And that was less than a month.
Yeah. So expect that to come back, especially based on that article.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So John sent an article that was talking about how they're still selling Lord of the Rings today, and they can still sell Final Fantasy 3 years
they're
from
like,
now.
We expect to continue to do so. It's like, oh, okay. So they like the non-collector products are gonna continue to sell as long as, well, I don't know how long they can, but for a long time after the release.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, expect wave after wave of Final Fantasy play. Same as Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings is still holding up, over MSRP, right?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings reprintable products, the set and draft. Interesting things are happening. We had a reprint. The last reprint we had was just set boxes. Set boxes were like 220, 225. 220 was kind of the peak. And then, but now we're down to under 200 at like 194 after that big reprint. But then it sold a bunch too, so we're on our way back up. It dipped all the way down to like 160 when everything hit.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing.
What was the MSRP for that box though? I don't remember. I was way back.
Would have to look that up.
125? I know it was more than the boxes of the time, but it's still, that was way back, so I think it's less than the boxes now.
I think that was before they had MSRP again.
Oh, you're right. It was. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It didn't have an MSRP. Okay.
Yeah. I want to say it was like 170 when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah, because TCG Player only goes back a year. But yeah, I remember them being like, no. Yeah. Yeah, the set boxes were like 170 and the draft boxes were like 140.
Okay.
At the lows. So if you've held it for 2 years, you've gone up $20, which is great for the set. But it's had its bumps and all these printings, right?
Well, yeah, I honestly think that's perfectly fine
Oh, it
over the
absolutely is. Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Like,
But the interesting thing is the draft box. Since we didn't get a reprint of those, there's 27 on TCG Player. Now I know, like, I almost have 27 I could put up myself. So there are people with them on the shelves. Trust me.
you
But
can double the supply
I
overnight,
literally could.
Tommy.
They're at 245.
Yeah, that's
And
not
that's
bad at
just a
all.
pure demand thing. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Card EV wise. But you can't draft a set box the way you can a draft box. And if people are looking for just I think this, I called this a while ago. And that's why I always favored draft over set, was because just the experience of the limited format has value.
I don't know if that's been played out yet or not. Like, I'm not sure if I agree still. I understand the theory. I know it does for us because we
Yeah.
actually play with them.
Yeah.
I don't know that people are going to go 5 years from now and
There
be
are
excited
dozens
to
of us.
draft Lord of the Rings. That's the
There are
question.
dozens of us.
Yeah. Or if you're going to see people more excited to get the special art and whatever that's in the set box, or the
Right.
higher
Right.
density of art and stuff.
Right.
Because I enjoyed the set boxes when I went back after,
And they
I
have
did
the
all my
box topper
collecting, I
too.
sold a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I loved opening old set boxes. I still have an old set box of Strixhaven that
Nice. Nice.
I have it listed, but it's at a stupid price.
I
No
think
one's
those
gonna
are,
pay
I
for
think
it.
Strixhaven's due for a run up.
Well, and that's why I'm like, I kind of want to just open it.
Yeah. No, that's fair too.
I loved
Well,
that
to be fair,
set
if you open
so
it, then
much.
it will go up.
Yeah, of course it will. That's why I haven't done it yet. I'm like, I'll just keep listing it really high, and if someone buys it eventually, I'll be happy. I'm gonna pretend it's not on my shelf because I've almost opened it like 4 times
Yeah.
because it's such a nostalgia kick for me.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
It's the old fat stupid set box. You remember those?
Yeah, I remember those.
The
That took up way
big
too much
square ones.
space. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I still have that. I think I have a Kaldheim too somewhere. Yeah, I do. I have a Kaldheim set too.
Nice. But yeah, I think, yeah, we're gonna get more Final Fantasy for sure, and I will buy more of it then. But right now, and one thing I've noticed is the Spider-Man on the other sites besides TCG Player, the Spider-Man play boxes have been going in and out of stock.
Yeah. That one's going to be messy. So one thing I want to talk about, we were talking about the design of this, right?
Yeah.
So
It's a medium-sized set. There's about 80 cards less than a standard set.
This is a screwed up situation. They screwed up, and Spider-Man is sadly the end result of it. Not the sad part of Spider-Man's sad part is that IP got attached to this screw up. This was originally going to be one of the sets like Aftermath, like the micro sets or whatever, which if you recall, so was the stuff from Thunder Junction that they ended up adding in at the last second, which is why I had 3
the
set
big
symbols.
Score.
Yeah, so that was also going to be an Aftermath set. So and I don't know why this happened, I don't think anyone knows. Internally they basically sat down and went all in on this like mini set thing, and then the first 2 that came out like completely bombed. And as a result, they're like, oh crap, pull the emergency lever. What do we do with Thunder Junction? We just slam it in there. What do we do with Spider-Man? That tells you how long ago this was.
Speaking of, Thunder Junction collector boxes at an all-time high of around 250.
Yeah, exactly. Only 250 with all this nonsense happening. Like, it's crazy. But so Spider-Man was, I guess, in design at that point. So they were like, okay, rework how that was going to go. And so anyways, he explained it to some degree, Mark Rosewater, in some post or Tumblr or whatever, where he talks to the fans.
Tumblr is,
by the way, high credit to him for talking about design theory, talking about the sausage making.
That's why I reference it all the time. That is it.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Like, great, super appreciate it. I think anyone who gives him a hard time should shut the F up and ask questions with humility, because honestly, he is a saint and has done very good things.
He does not need to do that.
He doesn't need to do it.
No.
He gets subjected to abuse to do it. So it's like, stop abusing the man for being kind and talking about these things. You didn't. It's so stupid that people are mean to him. Anyways, that said, he did talk about some of this, and that's why there's less cards.
Yeah.
Now, they also are designing it for this pick 2 draft format, which I guess they were working on way back then. Like, think about how long ago that was.
Well, think about it. It's just, how hard is it to get 8 friends together for a proper draft?
Oh, totally. 4 That's why it's a great idea.
I'm hyped about this.
Can you do it with 2 people, or do you need 4 for it to fire?
Don't know. I assume 4.
Okay. Yeah, just curious if it could take out Winston, if we could do that format, if that's a thing.
We could try it.
That's why I was wondering if it's worth trying or if it would just not work because of the design.
I feel like the problem with Winston is it'd be very clear what colors you're going after with 2. Because it's not mixed up, so you can just look at the pack and be like, what color is missing? Yeah. Especially after like the second round, because you know what you picked and you know what they picked. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. I think it's just the knowledge is the unfair thing for Winston, or for 2.
Yeah. For 2. Yeah. Totally.
And the way Winston works helps break that up.
Exactly. That's what it does specifically.
Yeah.
It blinds it a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes.
But the speed of the draft too.
A mini set. It's not a mini set. They didn't do commander decks. That sucks a lot.
They have a bunch of starter decks though.
People were complaining. They're like, I have so many friends that are Spider-Man people that I could have gotten into Magic if I had a commander deck I could just play.
But
and
why
I know
don't
starter decks provide that, but just like the last experience you had with a starter deck versus a commander deck, it's just a different thing. People love commander.
Yes, but commander's also a different game format. So it's Spider-Man's trying to it's not better. Especially it is not better for teaching a new player Magic. I disagree.
It is totally fine for teaching a new player.
It is. It's fine.
If it's a precon. Like,
it's fine.
Precons are pretty straightforward.
It could be better.
It doesn't matter. The point is, what it does is it puts that face card right there, the hero they want to be and they identify with. That creates the magic.
Yes.
That's the key. A random deck of 60 cards with random stuff coming out of it that you don't have context for, that may be a little easier to explain because of hint text or whatever.
But after
going to create the magic.
After playing a couple games with that starter deck, you start to learn the combos. You see them more often. You don't. It's not all one of
magic, and you think combos. That's not happening.
It is if they know other card games.
If they know other card games and haven't played Magic, that's a rare animal.
Believe me, I'm finding more and more of them, my friends.
I guess.
It's the most common, like the people that are willing to sit down, my friends that are willing to sit down with me and play Magic, that have played other card games and not Magic, or haven't played Magic since like mid 2000s.
Well, that's a different demographic.
Yeah, right.
That's that.
But they Magic is a brand new game with brand new keywords since then. You know what I mean?
Still. Yeah, I mean that's every set though.
Oh, absolutely. So it just gets harder and harder to. There's more explaining to do, but I don't know. I think learning like how a deck synergy works compared to here's 100 cards, you probably won't see the same cards.
You don't need to see the same cards.
I know.
Every card. That's why it's like it doesn't matter.
But then they're spending less time reading and more time playing because there's less cards for them to read.
Yeah, I don't know.
Precons so they can play their games quicker. Oh yeah, I mean precons do. They do. I'm not saying they're bad.
Again, you get to have the hero that you love in front of you, which is what makes them love the game.
Yes, I'm not saying it's bad.
I can be Miles right now.
I know, it's very exciting.
Gwen.
It's very exciting.
People love that shit, and they're not going to give it Spider-Man. It's sad.
It's fine.
Missed opportunity. Major missed opportunity. But
it's fine.
That's what happens when you have to redesign a set.
Yeah.
As an emergency.
Yes. Yeah.
To miss thing, which is really funny if you think about it. How many times have we talked about, oh, they're experimenting with this thing, they're going to do a
Yep.
bunch of it, right?
Yep.
And this is one they didn't.
Yep.
They just went all in. They said they were going to do like 6 of these sets before getting any market data. The very first market data was this sucks. The second market data was we really hate this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So weird for WotC to do that. I don't know why that happened.
I don't know. I'm just glad we got Spider-Man play boxes and not Beyond boosters.
What's a Beyond booster?
The one thing they did for Assassin's Creed. You can't draft an Assassin's Creed box.
Yeah.
There is no limited format for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I'm glad they did that. I don't like the small sets. I didn't like them then, and don't like the idea of Spider-Man being one. So yeah, I think draft product is critical.
Yeah.
I think the staples of every set should be Commander decks and draft.
Yes.
Everything else is like whatever, and I know that's like everything, but it's not. There's different types of collector boxes, which I guess are important. I honestly don't care if they have it for every set.
It's ways to play the game. Yeah.
Things that bring people to the table.
Yes. To want and desire the cards, creating demand.
Yep.
For the product.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, all these like Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Spider-Man, these are all going to be a ton of people's first Magic set. They will be nostalgic for 5-10 years from now.
Yep. When they're playing Commander.
When they're playing Winston with their friends.
Everyone plays Commander.
Everyone plays Winston, John. Everyone plays
No one plays Winston.
There are dozens of us.
Just you and I. Yeah,
there are dozens of us. But no. So, fun fact about Spider-Man. It comes out on my birthday. And gonna throw a draft for it. And I was originally planning 8 people. And then I heard this news. And then I was like, wait. Did my birthday party get smaller, or are we gonna have multiple pods? So, I just thought that was funny. I don't know. So basically the feedback is if you play, you can't. It's not like you can't do an 8-person pod and draft normally. It's just I think there isn't enough archetypes from what I've heard that like you're kind of just gonna be eating each other's lunch, and you'll end up with a bunch of mediocre decks. Where I don't know.
I mean, that happens.
Yeah, I think that's just draft though, so I don't really understand. That was one of the feedback things on Mark Rosor's blog, and I was like, "What? What? Isn't that? There's still 5 colors. There's still 8 people. What am I missing?"
Yeah, I think there's some excuses thrown out that don't necessarily tie it together.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be fun. I am excited. I do have 2 play case orders in for that, so I can open one.
Cool.
And we can draft Spider-Man for
I feel like that's a mandatory situation for you and your wife to draft with whoever else is around.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, want to get into some economicals?
Not great. So saw a really unfortunate article that said there's a survey done of economists, and 90%, approximately, I think it was like 87% of economists said they're seeing funky stuff in data that's released by the government, and they're getting very worried about that because a lot of the models are based on public data. And we know this administration's propensity to be upset when they don't have enough people at events to lie about it. So why wouldn't they lie about other things? If the economy's not doing well, they don't want to show that. So if that's actually happening, and if that many economists, 9 out of 10 economists are like, I can't really trust this data, suddenly all of our models start going very poorly. So I guess for me at least, I'm going to have to rely heavily on the Fed data, which I know a lot of people have issue with that. They're very legitimate issues in those discussions. A lot of them are conspiracy theory nonsense, but there are legitimate issues with it, like how unemployment's counted and things like that.
Right.
But that seems to be the safest bet for economic data because it's not government related, right? It's a third party essentially.
Right.
They can't control that. So if that's actually true and there's actually concerns there, then for most of the analysis stuff, it's going to either have to come from the street, i.e., actual business data reporting, Wall Street, etc., ADP data, that sort of thing, or from the Fed if the government data becomes harder to trust. And I have no reason to doubt this,
Yeah.
to be honest, because
Fair.
they fake all sorts of things. I had,
Yeah.
what do you say? I had the biggest rallies. I had the biggest people, and you look
Yeah.
at the videos you see with your eyes. Was it the inauguration? The biggest
Oh yeah.
crowd, and there's
Yeah.
like 100 people there, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was very
Yeah.
small. And that's going back for years.
Oh
Those
yeah.
sorts of
Nothing's new.
yeah. So point being, that does bother me because as everyone knows, I like to base my opinions and thought process on the data. And if the data is not trustworthy, then that becomes a big issue. I think the ADP thing might be the first like really big example of that. ADP came out and said there's negative 33,000 jobs. The government data came out and said there's plus, was it like 180 or something? Which
Right.
again, they do count different things. So
Right.
it is
Right.
a legit that they are a variance between them, but maybe that variance was
That's
bigger
pretty. Yeah.
because of falsified information. That I don't know. And frankly, I'm still like my mind, just the way I work, I look at this and I am more towards taking it at face value, right? Like mentally, I'm like, it's probably true. It's probably close enough because those numbers are all within variances because of the way they are done. And they always are. That's why there's always corrections later, right?
Right.
But now I'm starting to say maybe that first data set that comes out is super untrustworthy and you wait for the revision, right? Which I imagine is probably closer to reality. Hopefully they don't modify even the revisions falsely. I don't know. I have to decide how I want to deal with this because it sucks. It ties to so much of what I look at in my work and day
Right.
life and in this part. So, anyways, I'd point that out at the top because I think that's important to know going forward
Just
that our
globally. Yeah.
ability, our ability to trust data from the government is in question by a lot of people. It's kind of like the weather thing, the weathermen coming out and saying, I can't predict hurricanes. They turned off the model that gives us the data for it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that sucks. It's like we're kind of getting that with economics now. So that sucks. Some real data. GM is reporting a loss of $1.1 billion, and it's all related to the tariffs. If you thought tariffs would help United States companies be more badass, you were wrong. And I think I've been saying it on this the whole time
Yeah.
because the inputs
It's
are
not
still
how it
tariffs.
works.
Yeah, we don't make the things that you need to put the stuff together here. So even if you put the stuff together here, like GM does, they still need the metals, they still need the raw materials, they still need other stuff, which is now tariffed and comes from other countries. And no, just like you cannot grow avocados in America, so you have to bring them from other places. You cannot grow certain minerals that are in certain mines in other countries. You just can't do it. It's not possible. There's just not, it's not here
It's
in
not
enough
how it
quantity
works.
to set up a mine. And even if you did that, you're talking decades of lag time. So no, GM is not going to be fixed by any of this situation. The only thing I can imagine is if the tariffs get removed. So
Mm-hmm.
on that exact topic, the deadline, August 1st, for the tariff pause on the EU, which is obviously is a huge trading block. A lot of different raw materials. So it's coming up August 1st. Question is, do they extend the pause? Does he put a hardcore number on them? Do they do a small number and just say good enough, it's done? One thing we know for a fact, he did not do the 999 deals or whatever he said he was going to
Mm-hmm.
do in the time stated. So we do not have a legal framework for known certainty with economics moving forward. So we're in the stage of uncertainty. We talk about this all the time: fear, uncertainty, doubt. Those things hurt economic predictions. Therefore, people become more cautious and don't move money. Velocity of money is a key factor for keeping the economy healthy. So when money is pausing because they're not sure what's about to happen, that tends to be bad for the economy. And that's what we're looking at right now. We're in this final stage of uncertainty. Couple days, we will know what happens with the EU tariffs, and that should trigger a lot of activity. Now, is it good activity? Is it defensive activity? Depends on where that lands. Are we looking at a lot of, high tariffs across all of Europe, or is it country by country? Is it the EU bloc as a whole plus individual countries? We don't know. Until we know that, we won't really know what the reaction will be and how that will impact different companies. But it will have an impact. Tariffs basically are a tax. They add to the cost of the final good in your hands. And we do have quite a lot of trade with Europe, so it does matter quite a bit. Again, thinking like cars is a good example. Any German car, right? There's a ton on the American streets, Audis, etc. It's going to have an issue related to that once this pause comes off. That's just the simple, obvious one. There's a ton of other things when you think about small components in other devices. There's a ton of that. Medical devices, a lot of that's made in Germany. Siemens being the one that comes to mind first and foremost. SAP is a German company that's a business software management, logistics management. So basically, every logistics and manufacturing org in our country uses some German touched software system, which means that's going to have a tariff on it, probably, maybe. I don't know. We don't know. We're not 100% sure how this is working. So, anyways, that's all happening, and consider that tax to start August 1st. Again, same as we said before, it's going to be a long tail, right? It'll take a while for it to actually hit the sticker prices. When that pause happened, I think we talked about this, like, what was it, like February, something like that. And I kind of mapped out, like, okay, first the empty shelves hit here, and then here, and then here, and then they paused all the tariffs, and people started ordering again. We talked about the Chinese orders kicking back up because they were pretty certain there was agreement. Same sort of thing. We're at this point where it's like the impact hasn't been felt because it hasn't actually triggered yet. It will take 30 days for West Coast, 60 days for middle of the country, and then 90 days for East Coast because that's how things are shipped. I guess it would be the opposite for Europe, though, right? So it'd be East Coast,
right.
middle, West Coast, right? So reverse that, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as things happen. If you have an Audi you've been putting off fixing, go fix it.
Yeah.
Because the car parts will go up.
Yeah.
We did see it with Subaru almost immediately. It's the Asian one. So, the Asian tariffs caused issues there. I think
Glad I just got mine fixed.
Yeah, the car that I bought, I think, went up $10,000 in the time since then, which is crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I hope it comes back down, but that was the last I saw, which was like a week ago. So stupid. It's just a tax. It's literally just a tax.
Yeah.
It's nothing else, and you pay it. Like, I don't care what they say.
No.
In the headlines, it gets put on the customer ultimately, because ultimately the customer is the person that foots all the bills, right?
Yes.
This is the thing that most people don't think about.
Customer.
Like, business creates value. It's like business creates shit. People pay for that shit, and therefore there's the value. So ultimately, it's individual consumers that are the core and underlying, which is one of the reasons America is such a powerhouse economy, because we have a very strong, or have historically had a very strong consumer class, very willing to spend, very interested in buying things, all sorts of things, trading cards to Audis, right?
Yep.
And so because of that, that was always why we were such a strong and unique economy, because there's a lot of economies where people are like, I don't really need extra stuff. I've been to some of these countries. It's a very strange feeling. You feel like you're on a tropical island just kind of sitting around in the sun. Some places, that's fine. That's good enough. They can drink their wine. They can eat their food. They can go to work and do a few things. And that's fine. And that's all they need in life. They don't need the next, iPhone or whatever, right? So that difference in culture, which I know it's hard if you haven't visited other countries in the world, it's hard to understand how that looks. But it's the thing. There's cultures that just aren't into consuming. That has been our strength and as an economic powerhouse, and that is getting whittled away when it gets taxed, right? I.e. tariffs. When the price of things get too high, we saw this with the inflation thing, people cannot spend as much, and it starts to break down the way the structure of the economy is built, and it starts to have to be built a different way. And that's something about the difference between those two countries. Like, there's a vulnerability that comes with not having a strong consumer economy. Like we were just talking about, one of the reasons America has like the exceptionalism, all that. But there's also a different structure because that known vulnerability. So when things do go bad, they have a bit of a flexibility because they're used to that. Like, our consumers aren't going to save us mentality. America does not have that. It does not have that rubber band to help bring things into alignment easier. So it will probably happen in ways that are worse, just because we're not used to reacting that sort of thing. Assuming tariffs go into place and costs go up, which they will. I have seen some reports that the immediate costs have been borne to a high degree. I think it was like 40% by companies. Now, there are places, and I can point to specific things, products that it has already gotten onto the price. Like they're either doing it preliminarily or, their supplies ran out and they're one of those weird supply chains that is impacted by this.
Right.
So that has already started to hit. And I think it's just going to trickle into the economy more and more throughout the year. It's really what it looks like, depending on how all this lands. So congratulations. America collected $1 bazillion in tariffs. I know there's a lot of headlines about that, celebrating that we now have all this money. And Trump is considering a rebate. He's going to write a check for everyone. He's definitely not buying votes. He is going to give everyone money from all of this great tariff money. Now, remember, a tariff is a tax you paid.
Yeah.
So the tax you paid is going to be given back to you, except I guarantee you that check will not be as big as the amount you paid.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to target specific tax groups or income levels, whatever. I don't know what that means and where that breaks up, but the average American is already footing about $2,000 additional this year so far. And the projected, based on the last I saw, was somewhere between 4 and 6, depending on how these trade deals kind of work out and tariffs and stuff. So an additional $4,000 to $6,000 in total, or for the rest of the year, essentially, is expected to be foot by the consumer. And so if you're not getting a check for somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000, then you have been duped. If that rebate check is not that much, which it will not be that much, then you lost and they took your money. You paid a tax. Congratulations.
Hey. Yep.
Yeah. So that is where that is. I just hope people aren't tricked by that, because he makes it sound so great that everyone's going to get a check. And I know for people living paycheck to paycheck, like a big check, even if like $500 check or whatever, like feels good. Like it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
It feels great. I get why people get, positively associated with that. But you got to remember how much your eggs cost, how much your beef costs, which are at record highs right now, how much your gas costs, how much all these other things cost over the year. Because if that number over the year, the difference from what the prices were before to now, is higher than that rebate cost, and that rebate, no matter how good it feels, is you losing money. So put it in your savings account to pay for those expensive things, because that's probably the best move.
Yeah.
Yep. Cheery news today.
When are we getting those checks?
Yeah, exactly. When are we going to get those checks?
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
Interesting. Well, a little bit of a long one, but we missed last week, so that's cool.
Yep.
Anything else before we call this podcast?
That's all I got.
Well, if the world's still spinning next week, we'll catch you guys later.
Have a good one.